Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Scribe Plays Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York. Last time we found ourselves in the den of a crazy Malkavian who was getting ready to put on a cam show and asked us to act as director, I suppose. I don't think there's any doubt that I will be accepting the offer, but let's find out what happens next. "9 minutes. It's now or never. Show moderator. Risk of violating the masquerade? High. Content warnings? Oh yes. So, do you take the job?" Why the hell not? Why the hell not? Hope brightens up, and her smile looks surprisingly sincere. "Excellent. I promise you might find this interesting in more ways than one." "All right. Give me a second." She spends a minute setting up the computer you used before, then urges you to sit down. The explanation of the moderator's functionalities is simple. It boils down to ignoring anyone who doesn't disrupt the chat, banning anyone who does, and kicking anyone who's causing minor trouble. Sounds about right. 5 minutes later, she's already online, sitting on her bed in a provocative pose. It is a sex show, isn't it? Her voice, previously hushed, rings out with full force. "How are you doing tonight, hopefuls?" Oh, hopefuls, that's cute. You peek at the chat. "We're not worthy. Fucking A. Angel. TOT. Hell yeah. Time to fuck." Let's see. Ignore, kick, or ban. Ignore. You're tempted to try out the kick and ban prompts as soon as possible, but obviously, you won't punish someone for a little dirty talk. That's correct. "Thank you. Today's show is quite special. Please welcome our new moderator, Scribe." LMAO, LMAO. Oh, who? LMAO, sorry for sentencing you to death earlier. At least the community here seems to be a bit more welcoming this time. Looks like this place has an established hazing ritual. Or maybe they and Hope came up with one specifically for you. Who knows? Yeah, okay. Did she know I was coming? Oh. You decide to stay silent. Eventually, people stop riffing on you and focus entirely on the star of the show. "All right, let's start this one with a bang, shall we?" It begins. Queen! Oh boy, she's going to do it. So this is where the strip show starts? You raise your head, curious about what kind of performance she's going for. Meat hooks and everything above the bed. I'm assuming it's going to be something grotesque. First, she opens her mouth and reveals her retractable fangs in front of the camera. Right off the bat, the online audience is treated to a sight of her wholly human set of teeth turning into a monster's maw. The image is both revolting and fascinating. She raises her left wrist for everyone to see, and then bites. The fangs immediately turn her arm into a horrifying, gory mess. It's unclear if she used them to slash or bite, but one thing is for sure. No ordinary human could cause such damage. If an ordinary human suffered such a wound, you'd expect a geyser of blood to appear too. But it doesn't. Hope's technically a corpse, so it's impossible. Yes, vampiric vitae is inert, for the most part. She flashes a monstrous smile and starts smearing vitae all over her hand to maximize the impact of the violent image. Then she starts drinking it up. She makes it a point to make the sight as gruesome as possible, looking like a hyena feasting on a corpse. The contrast of her behavior with her look of an Instagram model is stunning. Once she's done, she reveals her wrist to the camera for the last time. She starts making theatrical gestures with her right hand as the wound begins to mend. Shortly after, the wound is gone. It's like a magician's trick. Her left hand looks like nothing bad ever happened to it. "Here's an appetizer. First blood to kick off the show." While you're wondering what the hell is going on, Hope catches a glimpse of your bewildered face and turns into your direction. Turns into my direction? Okay. "How is that for an opening?" This is not a sex show. You're shooting snuff. Are you hurt? I'm not going to ask if you're hurt. She's a vampire. You're shooting snuff? No, but yeah. This isn't a sex show? Sex? What? Were you counting on me getting naked in front of you or something? Oh, honey, we've just met each other. If you expected a strip show, yeah, sorry to disappoint. This is more like a live stream digital art. The erotic subtext is there, of course. You peek at the chat. They're going wild. She did that. For free. I'd love to lick your wrist clean, my fallen angel. Yes. Nothing more arousing than a beautiful woman teetering on the edge of oblivion. A rose petal dancing in the eye of a violent hurricane. That sounds like some poetry I used to see kids write in high school, but okay. But eroticism is not the key here. It's vampirism. It's a new frontier, a living art installation. In the early 90s, the Japanese artists kept producing these videotapes with beautiful women committing gory harikari. Those are an inspiration. She bares her fangs again in a devious grin. But I've no interest in auto-destruction or turning myself into a victim. This is a celebration of a body I love, not self-inflicted punishment. Uh-huh. Are you sure you're not a Toreador? The audience came here to marvel at a beautiful vampire and her awe-inspiring powers. Mending wounds is just one of those powers. The people watching can pay to see more. Oh, and don't worry. The only things the audience can see and hear are the things I allow them to. We can talk freely. Just remember to moderate the chat, will you? The only things they can see and hear are what they allow to... Well, they could be screen capping everything you're doing, and it's a total break of the Masquerade. But well, whatever. High risk of violating the Masquerade. What a joke. She's blatantly breaching it in front of anonymous viewers. Still speechless. You turn your attention to the screen. Muy... Oh boy, I don't know how to read that. All right, I'm feeling... Okay, stop. All right, I'm feeling generous today. Have you planned your next tattoo yet? I'll pay for the next attraction. Looking like a pink marshmallow covered in raspberry sauce. Thirst victim, just letting you know you're based. I know. Oh my god. That's... I mean, if I say ignore kick... Am I ignoring, kicking, banning all the people on the list? Or just like the... No. You let the guy vent his excitement. Seems harmless. Yeah. A special message appears on the chat log claiming somebody has successfully sponsored the first goal of the show. Hope smiles and picks up a bag of blood from underneath the bed. It must have been retrieved from a blood bank. She showcases the label to the camera for everyone to see. Drink up, drink up, drink up, drink up. Hope pours all the contents of the bag into her throat. You have no doubt it's real blood, but wonder why the viewers would be so satisfied with something that's so easy to fake. Welcome to the internet much? Okay. Don't worry, it pays well enough. You don't even bother to tell her this is not what you're thinking about. Safe to assume she knows. Okay. So what do you know about the kindred in the internet? Have they told you anything? While she is waiting for someone to sponsor her next vampiric feat, she decides to start a conversation. Yeah, I'll just say no, nothing. No, nothing. Well, makes sense. Not the first thing you teach to a, fledgling. See, some of us used to experiment with our own secure networks. We tried to build our own information hubs, social networks, everything. Yeah, like ShrekNet. Oh, good old ShrekNet. She's still working the phone in one hand while looking for something under the bed with the other. On how many things can she concentrate at one time, exactly? Oh. Then one day, the NSA got in. Turns out elders never really got the hang of proper security practices, or the sigils they used to smear on their screens didn't exactly work as advertised. Oh yeah, technomancy. That's right. Yeah, ShrekNet and technomancy. Then, of course, all the other three-lettered intelligence agencies in the world got the intel, and a lot of them decided bloodsuckers were the perfect new enemies for our post-9/11 times. Okay. The Second Inquisition came into being. Ever heard of it? The Second Inquisition was around long before 9/11, but okay. A lot of our kind died just because they were too present online. Right now, the remains of our old network serve as government honeypots, kept alive to attract fledglings and hunt them down. Okay, well, okay, I don't know how they've revised the lore since the last time I looked up, but like Society of Leopold and all that kind of thing were around, I believe, before the internet, but who knows. You post a certain keyword on Twitter or Facebook, you get tagged for investigation. You fit certain patterns, you get tagged for investigation. So there is a certain thrill in becoming an online presence without attracting attention from the authorities. Curious to know how you're doing that. She stretches on the bed. I hope you are still monitoring the chat. Of course not. You're not as good at dividing your attention as she is. You correct your mistake and check the recent messages. Ah, is she talking to somebody? Can't wait for the real thing to start. This monitor's set up rules. Call of Duty on one screen, drop dead hotness on the second. The only woman I don't hate. Hope more like my favorite hoe. For what it is, I don't see them. Despite the nickname, they seem supportive. You leave them alone. You look away from the screen for a second, and when you look back, there are 3 new messages from the same user. Hope has crabs in it. Yo, is it just me or does your face kind of look retarded? Look kind of retarded, but don't worry, baby. If you're a special needs person, I have a special thing here to satisfy you. It's my dick. Doing a great job back there, Scribe. The guy gets banned, and Hope goes back to running the show. Well, I didn't even get the opportunity to do it myself? Because, okay. All right, I'm not giving a chance. Great job, Scribe. Great job, Scribe. Great job, Scribe. They must have heard her. You've messed up. How could I mess up if I wasn't given the chance to do anything about it? Like, what? And that's the confusing thing. If it says ignore, ban, kick, like, well, who am I ignoring? Who am I banning? Who am I kicking? If there's 4 messages on the screen. Okay. And besides, that guy didn't appear before. So, I don't know. Anyway, yeah. When the Nosferatu admitted to Camarilla, their network got compromised, the elders went batshit insane. Internet communications became strictly forbidden. There were executions. A lot of people who use social media to secretly contact their mortal families and lovers got offed. That goes without saying. But if you weren't careful, even the most innocent web usage could result in being punished with final death. So how are you avoiding that then? Thanks to user Dick Steele, the next goal has just gotten successfully funded. Let's go! Vanishing Act. Dehumanize yourself and face to bloodshed. She raises her hand. 3 fingers up, 2 fingers up, 1 finger up. The countdown ends and she immediately disappears from the screen like a ghost. You can still see her on the bed, but the live feed indicates there's nobody there. That's not how obfuscate works. Well, unless the rules have been revised. When you deeply focus on the digital image, you swear you can make out some unusual glitching where her silhouette should be, but it could very well be just placebo. Placebo? You ready for this? 3, 2, 1. A flash of the camera. The instant she reappears on the screen, she takes a selfie, sticking her tongue out in a provocative manner. The chat room explodes and cheers again. She is their vampire queen. You briefly wonder about her being glued to the screen. Is this the fantasy everyone is here for? A girl showing off cheap magic tricks while lazily browsing her social media? Welcome to the internet? You realize you're way out of your depth here. Meanwhile, Hope decides to continue her lecture. Those were some wild times, especially in New York. While most of them have no clue as to our real nature, a lot of clandestine organizations have classified us as national threats. And since this is where the towers fell, the agencies are very much present around here, looking for easy PR victories. The latest SI raid here was just a few years ago, and it was a big one, stirred up the hornet's nest something fierce. But although it's 2019, New York City is ruled by someone who got embraced before World War II, and the cam as a whole got really spooked and swore off the internet. Of course, they're not dumb and understand that you can't really coexist with modern kind without the internet. It's a gray zone right now, like piracy, technically frowned upon, but let the one without sin cast the first stone. The SI is a real threat, no joke, but in many senses, the darkest place is right under the candle. You take another look at the screen. We want blood. How about some bat stuff? Can you do bat stuff? Can you show us next time? It's been a long, hard day. Please give me a shout out. A familiar nickname pops up. Okay. Kick. You give the guy a kick for spamming the chat. The message is deleted so fast, Hope might not have even noticed. A duty carried out well. You're surprised to feel an inkling of pride. Well, that's the first time that I had a targeted choice to do anything, but okay. Oh yeah, fun fact about being a vampire. We can sweat and pee if we just exert ourselves really hard. Some of us can even orgasm. We can even cry, but only tears of blood. Well, doesn't that also mean you can only sweat and pee blood? Okay. It's something I always dreamed of doing when I was 14. So romantic, and it drives them crazy. As proof of her words, a scarlet tear starts running down her face. The chat goes wild. This seems to be exactly the kind of thing they've been waiting for. Ah, an angel that fell down from heaven. Oh my god, she did it again. Hope your tortured soul finds some calm eventually. Can you imagine USA assembling a blood-sucking squad that would just cruise by the border and suck blood out of any illegal they found? The very thought gives me the biggest boner. I'm assuming I'm supposed to ban that guy. And is that really what it is? It's like the last message on the thing is the one I have to focus on? Okay. And banned. Just to be clear, you realize what we're doing here is a blatant breach of the Masquerade, right? I honestly expected you to leave or inform somebody by now, but you haven't, have you? You try to focus on the chat. A familiar nickname is displayed on the screen. Yeah. Looks like Mr. Masochist needs a longer break. After you ban him, you hear Hope's voice. Good job handling that guy. Great. If nothing else works out, seems like you fit this job at the very least. In any case, the last goal has just been funded. It's time for the great finale. This is what you've all been waiting for, right? Yes, Queen. Yes, Queen. Yes, Queen. Her voice has changed. She gets closer to the camera, letting her face fill the frame of the live feed. Her mesmerizing eyes are focused purely on the viewers. You wanted blood? Come out into the streets, claw out your neighbors' throats, slash their veins, and drink up. Yes, Queen. Yes, Queen. Yes, Queen. Hope's presence becomes absolutely horrifying, and it influences the chat in some incomprehensible ways. Everyone starts typing like they are possessed. Liberate yourself from the shackles of ordinary mortality. Make them scream. Feel the warmth of their entrails. What the hell is she doing to these people? What have you gotten yourself into? Transcend your bodies. Release the message of hope into the world. She jerks violently for a second, and then falls down on the bed like a marionette that had just had its strings severed. She exhales loudly a few times. And laughs. When she does, the room goes dark again. All right, that's enough. Instead of continuing, she does something with her phone, the stream ends, and the chat instantly becomes dead quiet. Oh my god, was it all fake the whole time? Let me take over. The atmosphere in the room has completely changed. She already put herself together and stood up. Now she's walking towards you. At Vulgar. What the fuck just happened? At Vulgar? Okay. At Jerry. Guess the show is over. Everyone relax and go home. Aw, and I was almost ready to come, bros. Hostage, I swear on my father's grave, one day I will find you and kick the ever-living shit out of you. Oh no, is this all multiple personality? After every line she delivers, she changes her voice, the way she puts her lips together, and even the way she moves. I couldn't have told you that, except I did last part. You've caught glimpses of her acting this way, but only now have you started to figure it out. I kind of figured it out earlier. It's not impossible. What the hell just happened? I know what happened. Okay. Wait a minute, doesn't mean. Wait a minute. Does that mean I'm immortal? I'm bored. I'm separated from most vampires in the city by a generational chasm, and I'm so goddamn lonely. The internet used to be my only friend. Years ago, I started researching tulpas, collective unconsciousness, all the mumbo-jumbo at the intersection of psychology and spirituality, and I decided to experiment. The show was fake. No! A few years ago, I was an Instagram fashionista, a successful erotic model, a vital part of pop culture commentariat, a viral shitposter, a cryptocurrency expert. All of my internet selves started signal boosting each other, paving the way for new ones. I became a one-woman empire surrounded by legions of psycho fans. The chat was fake. You don't say! Some may think of it as dissociative identity disorder. Uh-huh, but that's bullshit. Everyone has online alter egos they buried. I just resurrected them, gave birth to new ones, and let them crossbreed. Right, so it's like grandiose headmates kind of stuff. Her constant tapping at the phone, even during the show, somehow she is capable of impersonating an entire chat room. Somehow. I don't even have a self that could disassociate or be mentally ill. I'm a host, a living database. Right. I live because I find it fun to be an information conduit, to process trends and support the ones I deem worthy. There was no Masquerade violation. She was showing off her skills all along. She put you into a world of pure fiction, the same way she was testing you back when she attacked you from the back. You don't say. Damn, she's good at this. Of course, you can just ignore what I'm saying and decide I'm just another deranged Malkavian. But hey, annihilation of the self is the only way to survive in the 21st century. Malk David Chapman. If there ever was an era that demanded images of beautiful people transcending beyond humanity and inspiring others to do the same, it's this one. Although for now, because of Masquerade, maybe the Masquerade, my audience is quite limited. Speaking of, you want to be the star of my next movie? No. Hell no. Aw, you're no fun. But yeah, your test is over. Now the question is, do I want to work with you? She puts away her phone for the first time since you've met her and gives you a good, hard look. I guess I can give it a shot, yeah. You're not that dumb, you're not that boring, and you're kind of cute. Don't worry, no more modding jobs. Mods get attached, and that's always bad news. She grabs your arm and starts leading you out of her room. I've put you through enough shit. Next time, I'll let you in on a little job I'm doing. We'll hit the streets, and you'll see why Sophie told you to contact me. She leads you through a labyrinth of gray corridors. It's a different route than the one you've made your way through in. The one you made your way through in. Oh, okay. This city is so much more than what its elites consider real. Stick with me and I'll guide you to places Camarilla elders couldn't reach in 100 years. She leads you out of the building, back into the back alleys. Even if someone else rules the streets, we will rule the information highways. This is the power of hope. She lets out a theatrical laugh and disappears. You don't even notice when she leaves you alone, but you assume everything went as well as it could. A new ally, the power of hope. As you walk off into the night, everything around you feels a little less tangible than it did a few hours ago. Okay, it is rest time. You're walking down the street towards your haven. Uh-oh. In some other town, the sidewalks would be deserted this time of night. In New York City, there are plenty of passerby going about their business. It's easy to be paranoid when you're a vampire surrounded by a crowd of humans. The kindred have many enemies, and all these enemies have one trait in common. They're invisible, indistinguishable from normal humanity. Other vampires, hunters, all look like people. Is that old man just a tired restaurant worker, or a kindred thrall tailing your movements? Are the officers idly waiting in a patrol car, ordinary cops, or Second Inquisition specialists looking to end undead threats? This kind of thinking leads to madness, but you can't shake the feeling that someone is watching you. It's not the first time you felt like this. Well, I mean, again, going back to my, old school rule set, Auspex, if you possess it, does, at least for story purposes, give a passive danger sense, or you can have the merit danger sense, I think, depending. Following the queue of so many mortals around you, you stop at a street corner to casually survey your surroundings as if you were trying to remember which turn to take. You look around, ostensibly at street signs, but in reality to see if someone really is following you. Down the street where you came from, a crowd of young drunk men argue loudly about baseball. There's an indistinct figure standing behind them, almost impossible to notice. A woman, probably. The men unconsciously move around her as they start to walk away, still mouthing off at each other. If they're unconsciously moving around her, then conceivably she's using obfuscate. Whatever this is, it's probably something you have to take care of. Best case, someone is trailing you. Worst case, you'll be attacked and killed. Or you're being ridiculously paranoid. Unfortunately, being undead has its limitations. The sun is coming up soon, and you'll burn to a crisp if you stay on the streets. You reach your haven and settle in for the day. Did you check to make sure you weren't followed? Disconcerted by the idea that someone might know where you sleep. Yeah, so why did you... This is why having more than one place to go for the day is a smart thing to do. And the next night comes. As you wake from your slumber and emerge from your haven for the night, you notice a familiar face on the other side of the street, standing on the corner and looking straight at you. It's Kaiser's lackey, whom you met recently, Jackie. He nods to you, encouraging you to approach. His hands are outside of his pockets, and he seems pretty relaxed. He's keeping his eyes on the street, though, as if making sure you're alone. He smiles awkwardly when you approach. Was I ever told his name? I don't remember. I don't remember the name was ever mentioned, but I guess somehow I know his name now. Evening. Got something for you from our mutual friend. He produces a crumpled piece of paper from his jacket pocket and hands it to you. Read it, memorize it, then give it back here. It's a letter. The paper might just be a page ripped out of a spiral notebook, but the writing on it is exquisitely detailed and deliberate. It reads, Time to square your debt with me. Go to the wine shop at 232 Mulberry Street and ask for the 1821 Special Reserve Donatello Negramaro. Negramaro? Okay. When they tell you they don't have it, say you are a fedele servitore della famiglia G. Those exact fucking words, and make sure you get the G right. Am I going to meet the Giovanni? Oh, I hope so. The Giovanni are my favorite clan. Probably. Well, one of my favorites. Up there. Probably number one. You'll get a bottle. Just take it and leave by saying grazie. Don't ask how much it is or anything else. Just walk out. When you have it, come back to Jackie Boy here and let him know. You done? Memorize that shit and hand it over. Didn't think your boss was a letter guy. What's with all this cloak and dagger nonsense? Why wouldn't he be a letter guy? It's destructible. See, me, the player, is a bit more on cue than the character, but whatever. Okay, what's with all the cloak and dagger nonsense? Letters, passwords? What's with all this cloak and dagger nonsense? That's how the boss likes it, and who am I to argue? I just do what he says. You about done with the letter? You note the phrases and address mentioned in the letter, then hand it back to Jackie. Hand the it back to Jackie. He immediately reaches for a lighter and burns the letter, putting out the ashes with his boot. So yeah, when you do what the boss asks, come back here so I can tell you where to go next. I'll be in that alley over there, so find me when you have the item, whatever it is. I don't know, and the boss made it extra clear that I shouldn't care, so I don't. See ya. He shuffles away and leaves you to pursue the lead from the letter. Time to pay a visit to Nolita. All right, well, that seems like a good place to cut off. I'm hoping that the next episode brings us to the Giovanni, even peripherally, because like I say, the Giovanni are one of my favorite vampire clans. But with that, everyone, thank you for joining me. If you like this kind of content, do let me know in the comments below, and be sure to like the video. And with that, as always, thank you for watching.